The sky over Arvenus 9 was a deep greenish black, always swirling like it couldn't decide between day or night. The trees didn't whisper in the wind, they creaked and hissed like breathing creatures. It was not a place meant for peace. It was a planet where things hunted without warning. Zira had never stepped this far from her colony before. She was young, curious, and alien by human standards. Green skin, silver hair, eyes that reflected light like a cat's, her people told. Stories about the wild forest, about things that slithered and things that swallowed. But Zira didn't believe in ghost tales. She believed in facts. Today, facts betrayed her. The forest floor was thick with vines, some the size of her legs. Flowers as tall as her body opened and closed slowly like mouths. She walked with care, holding a small scanner, collecting rare mineral readings. Her colony needed energy sources, and she was sure she'd found something deeper in the woods. That's when she heard the sound, a low rustle. Not from wind, but from something waking up. Zira turned, confused. The vine near. Her foot wasn't there seconds ago. She tried to step back, but something wrapped around her ankle. Tight. Fast. She gasped and fell. Before she could scream, another vine shot up and wrapped around her waist. Then her arms. The scanner fell from her hand, landing in the mud. She struggled, twisting, but the vines were too strong. She screamed, but the forest swallowed her voice. The ground beneath her shifted. She realized then this wasn't just a plant. It was alive, thinking, hunting. The vines lifted her into the air, toward a massive opening, wet, red, lined with rows of jagged plant teeth, the mouth of the beast. A carnivorous plant the size of a hover truck. Zira's heart pounded. She kicked and thrashed, but it only made the vines tighten. Her breath shortened. The plant was slow, patient. It wanted her alive when it swallowed her. Far away, hidden in the underbrush, a human named Dane was watching. He had been sent to Arvenus 9 by the scout fleet. Just another mission. But this was no ordinary survey. His job was to check reports of strange biology and signs of intelligent flora. He hadn't expected to find a girl being eaten. Dane had seen a lot during the war, aliens with wings, beasts that could melt metal. But nothing chilled him like the quiet horror of that scene. The plant didn't roar. It didn't chase. It simply waited for its prey to stop fighting. But Zira didn't stop. Her screams echoed again high, full of terror. Dane's grip tightened around his blade. He didn't know what species she was. He didn't care. She needed help. He charged from the brush without thinking. The plant sensed him and turned. Its vines snapped toward Dane like whips, hissing through the air. He ducked, rolled, and slashed through one, then another. Green sap sprayed from the wounds. Zira saw him through half-closed eyes. Just a blur of movement and light. One vine had started to pull her toward the creature's throat. Dane didn't hesitate. He jumped onto a branch, used the elevation to swing in, and drove his blade straight into the plant's base. The beast let out a strange groan. Its vines went wild, thrashing, cracking trees. Zira's body dropped. Dane caught her before she hit the ground. The vine snapped back in fury, but Dane was already running. He carried her through the thick trees, dodging roots, ducking under branches, never looking back. Only when they reached a burned-out clearing did he stop. He laid her down gently. She was covered in dirt, cuts, and green bruises. Her chest rose and fell fast. Her eyes fluttered open. You're human, she whispered. Dane nodded. You're lucky I was nearby. She looked up, eyes wide. You saved me. The forest behind them was quiet now, but both of them knew it wouldn't stay that way. Zira sat on a fallen tree trunk, shivering slightly even though the air was warm. Her silver hair stuck to her face with sweat and dirt. Every muscle in her body ached. She had never felt this close to death before. Dane knelt nearby, scanning her with a small medical device from his field kit. "No broken bones," he said, "but you're dehydrated. And whatever that plant injected into you might have been a paralytic." Zira gave a weak nod. "It didn't want me to fight. Just wanted me still, easy to eat." Dane looked up. "I've seen aggressive plants before, but nothing like that. It had intelligence, tactics. It was old," Zira whispered. "Some of the forest creatures speak of it, call it the heart vine. But we thought it was myth, a story to scare children." Dane stood and looked back at the path they came from. "Well, your myth just tried to digest you alive." She smiled weakly. "Thanks to you it failed." Dane checked his wrist panel. "We're not safe yet. That plant won't stop, and it's not alone. I scanned the ground. There's a whole underground root network across the valley. If we stay here, it'll find us." Zira struggled to her feet. "Then we move. You sure you can walk?" "I don't want to be lunch again," she replied. They started down a slope, deeper into the forest but away from the dense vine fields. The air here felt heavier, more humid. Trees had thick moss that dripped water like sweat. Strange sounds echoed, buzzes, clicks, distant screams that didn't sound human. "How did you get here?" Zira asked. "Scout mission," Dane said. "Standard survey. I was supposed to record signs of invasive flora. Didn't think the flora would try to eat anyone." "You were alone?" He nodded. "My team landed across the ridge. I went out solo. Now I've lost the signal." Zira looked at him carefully. "You risked your life for me. You didn't even know who I was." "I didn't need to," Dane said. "You screamed. That was enough." Zira didn't reply, but her eyes softened. They reached a narrow gorge, and Dane paused. "We can rest here. The vines can't cross." "Open water." Zira tilted her head. "How do you know?" "I've been watching them. They stay near roots. And water's not friendly to them. They rot." He handed her a drink capsule, and she sipped it slowly. "Humans are strange, brave, reckless." "Some plants think so," he joked out. Then the ground beneath them rumbled slightly. Zira tensed. "Did you feel that?" Dane drew his blade. "Yeah." A few meters away, the soil cracked open. A thick vine burst from it, twisting and rising. Like a snake, but this one wasn't wild. It was controlled. A large red bulb rose behind it. Not a mouth and eye. It blinked sideways and locked onto Zira. Dane pulled her back. "Move!" The vine lashed at them like a whip, smashing into the rock wall and spraying dust. Zira and Dane dove behind a boulder. Another vine struck, cracking. "The stone. It followed your scent," Dane shouted. "It's hunting you." Zira's voice shook. "Because I escaped. It remembers." Dane looked at her. "You said your colony was nearby?" She nodded. "North, across the sulfur cliffs." "Can they fight it?" "No," she said. "We have energy shields but no weapons. We're not warriors." Dane looked at the charging vines, then back at her. "Then we need to stop it before it finds your people." She looked at him, afraid. "But how?" He stood slowly, facing the monster plant. "We find the source, the core. If it's really called heart vine, then it must have a heart." Zira blinked. "You want to kill the entire plant?" Dane gripped his weapon tightly. "That thing tried to eat you. I don't plan to let it. Try again." The ground shook harder now. More vines pushed up through the forest floor. And somewhere beneath them, deep underground, something ancient had fully awakened. Dane slashed through another vine as it lashed toward them. The creature wasn't attacking wild anymore. It was aiming, learning. Each strike was faster, more focused. Zira ran close behind him as they climbed through the narrow pass, roots snapping under their boots. "They're everywhere," she shouted. "The ground is alive," Dane grunted, swinging again. "No more hiding. If we're going to stop this thing, we need to find its center now." Zira pointed ahead. "There's a cave system just beyond the sulfur cliffs. Old tunnels from before the colony settled here. We always thought they were natural, but now I'm not sure." The sky above them had changed. Thick clouds of green mist drifted in, blotting out the sun. The air was hot and full of spores. Zira's breath became shallow. Dane handed her a small filtration mask from his kit. "These spores? They're not random," he said. "It's defending itself. It knows we're coming." Zira looked at him, her voice tense. "Then we're close." They reached the cliff edge. Below it stretched a narrow valley, steaming and yellow, split, with cracks that glowed faintly red. It looked like a wound on the planet. In the center was the entrance to a wide cavern, half covered in vines and dripping sap. "That's where it is," Zira whispered. "The heart." Dane studied it. "We going fast. No stopping. We find the source and kill it. Got it?" She nodded. They slid down the slope, dodging twisted roots and avoiding bubbling pools of acid water. The stench burned their noses. As they neared the entrance, a loud, deep rumble echoed through the cliffs. It wasn't thunder, it was breathing. Inside the cave, it was darker than anything Zira had ever known. Even her night vision implant flickered, like the walls were eating light itself. Dane activated his shoulder lamp. The beam stretched just a few meters, then vanished into thick air. Cave pulsed. Literally every few seconds. The walls expanded and contracted like lungs. Sticky vines clung to every surface. Some moved when they passed, curling away slowly like startled animals. Dane spoke low. "This isn't just a plant. It's a hive system, a living brain." Zira's voice trembled. "We're walking into its body." They moved deeper. The path narrowed, then opened into a giant chamber lit from above by a glowing hole in the ceiling. In the center of the room was something neither of them expected. A glowing mass. Round, red, and covered in thick veins, it pulsed slowly like a living heart. It sat in a pool of thick green sap, and dozens of smaller vines grew out from it, all feeding into the earth. Zira gasped. "That's it?" Dane stepped forward. "We destroy that, everything connected to it dies." But before he could act, the ground cracked open. A massive vine burst from the floor, its end shaped like a serpent's head, sharp-thorned and wide-mouthed. Zira screamed as it lunged. Dane grabbed her, throwing her back as the monster plant slammed into the ground where she had stood. The whole cave shook. From the walls, more vines crawled down like spiders, wrapping the walls and floor. "We're out of time," Dane shouted. Zira looked at the heart, then at the beast blocking their way. "You need to reach it. I'll distract it." "No," Dane shouted. "It wants you. It remembers your scent." "Exactly," she said. "Let it remember." Before he could stop her, Zira ran across the chamber, yelling, waving her arms. Plant roared, actually roared, and turned toward her. Dane didn't waste a second. He sprinted the other way, weaving through vines, heading straight for the heart. Zira dodged and rolled as the vine snapped behind her, striking stone, tearing into walls. Her breath came in short bursts, but she kept moving. Dane reached the base of the heart. He pulled a plasma charge from his belt, slapped it against the pulsing surface, and set the timer. 5 seconds, he whispered. Just enough. He turned and ran, yelling, "Zira, down!" She dropped flat. The blast lit the chamber in white light. The heart exploded. A wave of energy ripped through the vines. The serpent vine shrieked and twisted violently, smashing into the ceiling. Then everything went still. Dead still. The vines dropped like limp ropes. The air stopped moving. The glow faded. Zira opened her eyes. Dane limped over, breathing hard. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "It's gone?" He looked back at the smoldering hole. "It's dead," he said. For good. Outside the cave, the sky began to clear. The mist faded. The forest exhaled. And for the first time in years, our Venus 9 went quiet. Asterisk sunlight broke through the clouds above our Venus 9 for the first time in days. It filtered through the trees gently, lighting the forest floor where only shadows had lived. Before, the vines that once moved like living snakes now hung lifeless and brown. Their threat ended. Dane and Zira sat near the cave entrance, catching their breath. Smoke still rose from the blast hole behind them. Dane's arms were scraped, and his blade was cracked. Zira leaned back against a rock, her chest rising and falling in deep, tired breaths. "We made it," she whispered. Dane nodded, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Barely." For a long while, neither spoke. The silence wasn't empty, it was relief. But it didn't last. Zira shifted, her voice quieter. "Dane, there's something I didn't tell you." He looked at her, frowning. "What is it?" She reached into the pouch at her hip and pulled out a small, silver disc worn, marked with ancient alien symbols. "This was found by my people weeks ago, near the first root site," she said. "We didn't understand it. But now I think it was left behind on purpose." Dane took the disc carefully. "It's not just a colony relic?" She shook her head. "Look at the marking. That's not from my world. It's not Zirian." Dane turned the disc over, eyes narrowing. "That's Terran script." He blinked. And then he read the faded words carved deep into the metal. "Project Verdant, Bioweapon Test Site Number 4, Human Origin. Do not engage without clearance." His stomach dropped. "We did this," he whispered. "Humans planted that thing." Zira's eyes were wide. "What?" He stood up, clutching the disc. "Verdant. It was a black project. Long before peace talks. During the worst of the wars, human labs were trying to design living weapons plants that could grow on enemy worlds, take over their ecosystems, wipe out life without needing troops." "You mean the hardvine was made?" she asked. "Engineered," Dane said. "Not grown naturally. We made it smart. We made it hungry." Zira stood too, shaking her head. "But your people said they wanted peace." "Some of us did," he said bitterly. "But war leaves behind secrets. This world must have been marked as a test site, then abandoned when the treaty came." She stared back at the jungle. "So my colony settled on top of a human weapon, and we never knew." Dane looked down at the silver disc. "And no one ever came back to clean it up." Zira's voice was soft but steady. "You didn't know, Dane. You saved me. You fought to stop it, but how many others didn't get saved?" He muttered. Zira placed a hand on his arm. "Then we make it right." He looked at her. "How?" "We show your people this," she said. "We tell mine the truth. And we don't let it happen again." Dane didn't speak at first. Then slowly he nodded. But before he could answer, a sharp beep echoed from his wrist. Zira tensed. "What is that?" He checked the screen. "Incoming ship," he said. "Fast. Military class." Her eyes narrowed. "Yours?" "No," Dane said. "This isn't one of ours." They turned toward the sky. A dark ship broke through the clouds, no markings, no signal lights. It was quiet, deadly, and descending fast. Zira grabbed his arm. "Do you think they know?" "They followed the tracker," Dane said. "They're coming to clean up the evidence, including us." He looked at the disc in his hand. "It's proof." Zira's voice turned sharp. "Then we run." "No," Dane said. "We don't run. We warn your people. And we make sure the story gets off this planet." Above them, The dark ship opened its side bay. Figures stepped out in black armor, silent, masked and armed. Zira looked at Dane. "If we don't make it, we will." He cut in. He slid the disc into a data capsule and pressed it into her hand. "No matter what happens," he said, "you make sure someone hears the truth." Zira nodded once, her eyes burning with something stronger than fear. The forest had gone quiet again, but the real fight was just beginning. The black-armored figures moved with perfect coordination as they stepped onto the soil of Arvinus 9. They didn't speak. They didn't scan. They already knew where to go. Zira and Dane crouched behind a moss-covered ridge, watching through gaps in the vines. The figures weren't soldiers, they were cleaners. Silent enforcers used to erase secrets, not fight wars. Their helmets had no faceplates, just flat black surfaces that reflected nothing. Cold. Inhuman. "There's 4 of them," Dane whispered. "Probably more on the ship. They're moving toward the cave." "They're here for the heart," Zira said, "but it's gone." "No," Dane muttered. "They're here for this." He tapped the data capsule tucked into her belt. "That disc proves humans built the heart vine. If the wrong people get it, they'll bury it again along with us." Zira's grip tightened around the small weapon Dane had given her. "So, what do we do?" Dane looked toward the colony hills. "If we can reach your settlement, we can transmit the data to your council and mine. Once it's out, no one can silence it." "But how do we get past them?" she asked. Dane stood slowly. "We don't." "I do." Zira's eyes widened. "No, I'm not leaving you." "You're not," he said. "I'm buying you time. You circle wide around the hill. Take the old dry riverbed trail. It'll lead you straight to your colonies." "Edge? And you?" she asked. He gave a small smile. "I'm gonna go say hello." Before she could argue, he turned and moved quickly through the trees, silent as a scout. Zira stayed low and began circling the long way, heart-pounding. Dane approached the cave entrance, stepping into view just as 2 black-armored enforcers were scanning the remains of the destroyed Heartvine. They turned their heads toward him. "Stand down," one of them ordered, voice cold and robotic. "Funny," Dane said. "I was just about to tell you the same." The soldier raised a plasma rifle. Dane dove behind a boulder as bolts hissed through the air. He rolled, drew his own rifle, and fired. One shot hit a soldier in the side, causing sparks but not dropping him. Their suits were shielded. He cursed and ran deeper into the clearing, drawing them away. The remaining 2 soldiers moved toward the direction Dane had come from, toward Zira's trail, but she wasn't there anymore. She was already crawling up the other side of the ridge, moving faster now, breath sharp in her lungs. Her legs ached, her side burned, but she didn't stop. She could still hear the gunfire echoing behind her, each shot a warning that Dane might not be alive much longer. Reached the colony boundary. A set of motion beacons blinked, recognizing her ID signal. A hidden gate slid open, and she slipped through. Just inside, 2 colony workers saw her and ran over. "Zira? You're injured. What happened?" "No time," she said, pushing past. "Where's the uplink tower?" "Tower 3, north." "Ridge," one of them said. She sprinted at the base of the tower. She pulled out the capsule, slid it into the console, and began transmitting to both her people and the Terran Science Division. A loading bar blinked across the screen. 43%, 64%, 83%. Her hands trembled. She whispered, "Come on, Dane, hold on." In the jungle, Dane crouched behind a fallen tree, chest heaving. 2 of the soldiers were down, smoking armor crumpled nearby. The third one circled behind him. Dane spun too late. The soldier slammed into him. He hit the ground hard. The rifle kicked from his hand. The soldier raised a blade, but before it fell, A deafening sound broke the air. A high-pitched shriek echoed through the valley. The trees shook. And something moved through the vines. Not a plant, a shape. Zira appeared on the ridge above the fight, holding an old colony signal flare in her hand. The sound came from the flare, a mimic call. She'd activated the one sound every creature on Arvinus feared. It was the death cry of the planet's original apex predator. Every vine in the area began to twitch. Every beast nearby scattered in panic. Even the last enforcer paused. That pause was enough. Dane surged forward and tackled the soldier to the ground, grabbing the blade and driving it through the armor joint. The soldier jerked once, then went still. Zira rushed to him, dropping beside him as he sat up slowly. "You're alive," she breathed. "You came back," he said. She smiled. "I transmitted the data. Both sides got it. It's done." They sat in the dust, breathing heavily, surrounded by silence. And for the first time, no one was hunting them. The colony gates closed behind them, sealing the jungle out with a heavy hiss of pressurized air. Inside the settlement, people stared, some wide-eyed, some whispering. Zira hadn't just returned. She had come back, with a human, dirt-covered, bruised, and carrying the weight of something no one wanted to believe. They led Dane to the council hall, a simple building built into the side of a rock wall. There, under the hard lights and suspicious eyes of colony leaders, Zira stood straight and spoke. "We were attacked," she said clearly, "but not by wild plants, not nature. It was a human-made weapon." Gasps echoed through the room. Some called it impossible. Others looked at Dane like he was the one who planted the heartvine himself. The council chief, a sharp-eyed woman with deep scars across her chin, stepped forward. "Do you have proof?" she asked. Zira pulled the capsule from her belt and held it up. Full logs, human language, coordinates, labels from something called Project Verdant. And we were attacked by humans trying to silence it. Dane added, "Your world was used as a test bed, a garden for war." Silence. Then the chief took the capsule and slotted it into the wall console. As the hologram lit the room, showing the words, Project Verdant, Stage 4, Terraform Bioaerosurvivarion, fell silent. The next day, the entire colony knew, and beyond that, the human science divisions responded, denying it at first, then falling silent. But the news spread faster than damage control. Colonies on other worlds began asking questions. How many other places were seeded? How many other living weapons were still growing? Some Terran factions tried to label Dane a traitor, but other scientists, truth seekers, veterans, stood up for him. Zira became a symbol among her people, not just for surviving, but for speaking when others stayed silent. The world changed in days, but not everyone welcomed the change. Message reached them both just 3 nights later. A private frequency, encrypted. Dane played it in the colonies. Cumrum. The voice was smooth, male, calm. "We see you, Mr. Dane, and we see you, Zira of the green-blooded kin. You broke protocol. You revealed what was not meant to be found. So now, choices must be made." Zira leaned in. "Who is this?" "We are the gardeners," the voice replied. "We planted the seeds long before your time, and we never stopped. If you truly want peace, you must stop digging, or we will plant something new inside your people next." The message ended. Dane stood still, staring at the console. Zira whispered, "They're still out there. More than just the enforcers." He nodded. "A shadow organization, deeper than military, older than war." Zira stepped forward. "Then we can't stop now." He looked at her. "This won't be like last time. This won't be one monster in a forest." She held his gaze. "Good. I'm done running." He exhaled slowly. "We need allies. People who care more about truth than power. Zira nodded. And you know where to find them? I know where one is, Dane said. She used to lead the science corps before they silenced her. She knows what Verdun really is. If she's still alive, she'll help us. Zira stepped closer. Then let's find her. Dane gave her a look that was half smile, half warning. This won't end with answers. It'll end with a fight. I know, she said softly, but I'm not afraid anymore. Outside the walls, the jungle rested, but somewhere beyond the stars, more seeds were already waking. The ship tore through deep space, engines pulsing low as it glided silently toward an unmarked system far from mapped star routes. Dane stood near the cockpit window, watching the stars shift. His jaw was tight, eyes fixed. Behind him, Zira tightened. Her seed harness. They had followed the coordinates buried deep in the Project Verdant data. A place not listed on any colony chart. Not even military logs. Verdant Prime. The source. No one had set foot there in over 20 years. At least, not legally. As their ship descended through green cloud cover, Zira's eyes widened. A massive station floated above a jungle planet, its shape overgrown with vines. It looked abandoned, but the machines were alive. Lights blinked, motion trackers swiveled, and long metal arms stretched down into the trees below. This is where they grew it all, Dane muttered. The original heartvine, every strain. Zira whispered, it's still running. They landed in silence. Inside the station, everything was too clean, too polished. No dust, no decay. Only hums of old machines still doing their job like no one told them the war ended. Dane and Zira found the central core chamber. There, behind glass, floated a seed black, glowing faintly green, pulsing like a heartbeat. Around it were files. Thousands of them. Each one labeled. Verdant deployment. Target world. Dane stepped forward. They were going to use this on dozens of planets. Zira stared at the glowing core. What do we do now? He held a charged detonator in one hand, in the other, a data drive with all the information they just uncovered. I destroy it, he said. Wipe it all. End Verdant forever. Zira didn't move. But if we do that, we erase everything, even the science, even the cure. Dane turned to her. Cure? She nodded slowly. There are logs. Look. She pulled up an old encrypted file. It showed experiments Verdant strains used to heal, not destroy. Modified to repair broken tissue, stop disease, grow food in poisoned soil. Secrets hidden even from the gardeners. Zira looked into his eyes. It was a weapon, but it could also save lives if used right. Dane stared at the seed core, the old war inside him burning. He had seen what these plants could do. What they did to Zira, to entire colonies, but she had seen more, and she wasn't afraid. Slowly, he lowered the detonator. Instead, he handed her the data drive. We give it to the people, he said. All of it, the bad and the good. Let them decide. Zira smiled. Together. They uploaded everything to the open galactic net, proof of the weapon, the survivors, the cure. Within hours, it spread across systems. Leaders were forced to speak. Some denied it. Others resigned. But the truth could no longer be buried. Zira and Dane disappeared from the public eye, leaving no trace, but rumors remained that a human and an alien once stood together in the middle of a war-born jungle and chose hope instead of revenge. And somewhere, in a quiet corner of a green world, a small plant grew in rich soil. It didn't hunger. It didn't bite. It bloomed. Because someone gave it the chance.